You keep writing affirmations. You keep visualizing. You keep telling the universe what you want. But it's not working, is it? You've lit the candles. You've whispered the mantras. You've done the vision boards, and still your life looks the same. Why? Because deep down, you're trying to manifest abundance from a place of emptiness. You're speaking affirmations with a voice that doesn't believe it deserves to be heard. You're placing orders with the universe from a soul that's still questioning its worth. And here's the brutal truth nobody tells you about manifestation. You don't get what you want. You get what you think you deserve. And that belief, it's buried so deep in your nervous system that you can't positive think your way out of it. You have to excavate it. You have to look it in the eye. You have to stop asking for more and start becoming the version of you who's no longer scared of receiving it. Because until you truly believe that you are worthy of the life you're dreaming of, you will find ways to block it, sabotage it, delay it, or lose it. Not because you're broken, because your self-worth has been trained to fear expansion, because you've been conditioned to associate success with pain, visibility with judgment, joy with punishment. And that conditioning, it creates a ceiling, not in your environment and your identity. You keep reaching, but your hand pulls back the second it brushes possibility. You keep hoping, but your body still holds the trauma of disappointment. So the frequency you're putting out, it's not aligned with abundance. It's soaked in unworthiness. And the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. It listens to the energy beneath the intention. It hears the self-doubt underneath the I am worthy. It sees the shame behind the I am abundant. You can't lie to energy. You can't fake belief. And you can't cheat alignment. You either believe you deserve it, or you don't. And that belief becomes your life, not because of magic, because of magnetism. You are always attracting not just opportunities, but patterns. Not just people, but mirrors. Every relationship, every result, every missed shot, it's all reflecting back the same question. What do you believe you deserve? Not consciously, subconsciously, because conscious desire is a spark, but subconscious belief is the wiring. And if your wiring says I'm not enough, then your life will reflect that over and over again. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many vision boards you make, because manifestation isn't about asking. It's about aligning. And alignment begins with identity. So let's go there. Let's talk about the real reason you keep attracting less than you deserve. You don't know what you deserve because no one taught you. They taught you to behave, to obey, to earn, to shrink. They rewarded you for being useful, not powerful. And so you built your value around pleasing others and then wondered why the universe keeps giving you scraps. Because you've mistaken hard work for worth. You've confused exhaustion with merit. You've tied your value to productivity and your self-worth to performance. But your value? It was never in what you do. It's in who you are. And until you see that, until you own that, nothing changes. You'll manifest almost success. You'll get close, then crash. You'll get love, but not respect. You'll get money, but not freedom. Because your outer world will always reflect your inner standard. And most people, their standard was set by someone who never even knew how to love them properly. A parent, a teacher, a lover, someone who projected their own limitations onto you and you believed them. You made it your truth. You carved it into your bones. And now, every time something good shows up, that voice whispers, you didn't earn this. You don't deserve this. Don't get used to this. And so you sabotage it. Not because you want to lose, but because winning doesn't feel safe yet. Because abundance feels unfamiliar. And your nervous system doesn't chase what feels good, it chases what feels familiar. Even if familiar means pain, even if familiar means lack, even if familiar means staying stuck in a cycle that keeps proving your unworthiness. But that cycle, it ends the moment you wake up. The moment you realize that manifestation without self-worth is just self-deception, that it's pretending. It's spiritual bypassing. It's asking for a life you don't believe you're allowed to live. And it won't stick because energy doesn't stick where it isn't safe. You want abundance? Then become safe to receive it. And that starts by rewriting your belief about who you are. You are not your trauma. You are not your past. You are not your bank account, your job title, or your follower count. You are not the mistakes they keep bringing up. You are not the story they wrote for you when you were too young to write your own. You are pure, creative power. You are divine intelligence. You are the dream of your ancestors, and you have nothing to prove, only something to remember. Because you don't manifest from desire, you manifest from deservability. And deservability isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're worthy and then you live like it. You speak like it. You move like it. You walk into every room like abundance is your natural habitat. Not because you're faking confidence, because you're done apologizing for your existence. Done shrinking to fit inside small lives and smaller minds. Done waiting to be chosen by a universe that was already listening. You are chosen. But have you chosen yourself? Because that's where manifestation begins. Not with a list. Not with a ritual, but with a decision. I am worthy of this. Not tomorrow. Not when I'm more healed. Not when I have more followers, or a better body, or another certificate. Now. As I am. Because the moment you make that decision, everything shifts. Your voice gets stronger. Your walk gets steadier. Your requests get clearer. Your relationships get cleaner. Because you're no longer tolerating crumbs and calling it dinner. You're no longer begging the universe for what your soul already owns. You're stepping into it. Fully. Finally. Ferlessly. That's the energy that changes lives. Not wishful thinking, not surface level positivity, but a deep, embodied sense that you are enough even when nothing around you validates it yet. Because that's where power begins. When you decide to hold the vibration before the result. When you refuse to let circumstances dictate your state. When you start walking like the version of you that already has what you've been trying to manifest. Because you can't out-affirm a low standard for yourself. You can't outwork an identity that still feels like a fraud. You can't call in abundance while you're still hiding from your own greatness. And here's what they don't teach you in the personal development world. Most people aren't blocked by fear. They're blocked by guilt. A subtle, quiet guilt that whispers, who am I to have this? Who am I to succeed when they didn't? Who am I to live freely when others are still suffering? And that guilt, it kills your power. Because guilt is a contract that keeps you tied to your old self, your broke self, your scared self, your performing self. But guilt doesn't make you loyal. It makes you limited. And if you don't release it, you'll keep handing your power over to people who never even learned how to hold their own. You'll keep shrinking around those who resent your light. You'll keep leaking energy to stay relatable. And you'll never rise into the full expression of your potential. Because you're too busy managing the comfort of people committed to staying small. But here's the truth. Your worthiness is not a threat to anyone. And if your success offends them, it's revealing who was never meant to sit at your table. Stop dimming just to be digestible. You weren't meant to blend in. You were meant to break the mold. You were meant to challenge the narrative that says people like you don't rise. You were meant to become the evidence that healing works, that worthiness wins, and that manifestation is not just for the lucky or the privileged, it's for the aligned. But alignment isn't about being positive all the time. It's about being honest. Honest about the fact that you've been outsourcing your worth, waiting for signs from them, from life, from some cosmic parent to say, now you're good enough. But that's not how this works. You're not waiting on a sign. You're the one who sends the signal. Every decision you make. Every boundary you set. Every time you say, I'm done begging for what I already am. You send a signal to life, a frequency that says, I'm no longer available for self-doubt. I'm no longer subscribing to scarcity. I'm no longer leaking my power for temporary validation. Because your self-worth isn't fragile, it's just been forgotten. You buried it under years of people-pleasing, overgiving, undercharging, over-explaining. And now it's time to dig it up, to remember the version of you that existed before the world tried to tame you, before you were told to be realistic, before you were trained to tone it down, before you were guilted out of wanting more. Because that's the real reason your manifestations have been missing. It's not timing. It's not technique. It's not the algorithm of the universe. It's you not truly believing you're allowed to have it. And so you block it, energetically, emotionally, subconsciously. You start negotiating with abundance. I'll let myself receive once I fix everything first. I'll allow success when I'm more healed. I'll take the leap when it's safer, when it's quieter, when it's less scary. But let me say this clearly, You don't manifest safety. You become safety. You train your nervous system to feel home inside joy. You rewire your body to feel calm in the presence of overflow. Because if success triggers panic, you'll push it away. If receiving love feels foreign, you'll find ways to sabotage it. If being seen brings up old shame, you'll hide no matter how badly you say you want visibility. You don't need more proof that the law of attraction works. You need to stop attracting from your wound and start attracting from your worth. Because the universe isn't withholding anything from you. You are. Every time you say yes when you mean no. Every time you ignore your intuition to be polite. Every time you beg for love instead of walking away from where it isn't freely given. You're teaching life what you believe you deserve. So what have you been teaching it? What have you been reinforcing with your silence, your self-betrayal, your endless hustle? Because the version of you that's trying to manifest love while staying in toxic relationships, the version of you trying to manifest wealth while undercharging and overgiving, the version of you trying to manifest purpose while living someone else's plan, that version can't receive what it's asking for, not because it's unworthy, but because it's unavailable. Unavailable for the very thing it's asking for, because deep down, it still thinks it's not allowed to have it. And the permission, it has to come from you. You are the only one who can declare, I am worthy now, not later, not once I've healed more. Not when I've fixed all my flaws. Now. Because the wound doesn't disappear before you rise. You rise anyway. You rise with trembling hands. You rise with a shaky voice. You rise with doubt still in your system and fear still in your belly. But you rise because manifestation is not about perfection. It's about permission. You don't have to get it all right. You just have to stop hiding from yourself. Stop auditioning for abundance like you're waiting for a callback. You're the director now. You're the writer. You are not the supporting role in someone else's dream. You are the source of your own becoming. And when you claim that fully, when you stop negotiating your worth down to fit inside someone else's expectations, that's when it arrives. Not because you earned it, but because you remembered you were never meant to beg for what you were born to receive. You were born whole before they told you to sit down, before they told you to lower your voice, before they told you your dreams were too big, your laugh too loud, your fire too much. Before the world carved its doubt into your skin, you knew. You didn't second-guess joy. You didn't apologize for taking up space. You didn't compare your value to anyone else because you hadn't yet been taught how to forget who you were. That knowing, it's still inside you, buried under the noise, under the approval addiction, under the perfectionism that's really just fear dressed in productivity. It's still there, waiting for you to come home to yourself. Because manifestation without self-worth is noise without signal, effort without energy. It's trying to pour from a cup you secretly believe is cracked. And you know what cracked your cup? It wasn't failure. It was neglect, emotional neglect, spiritual neglect. Self-neglect. The years you spent abandoning yourself for love, for recognition. For peace. The parts of you left behind just to feel safe in rooms you were never meant to shrink for. That's what fractured your foundation. Not because you were weak, because you were loyal to the survival patterns that kept you alive, loyal to the masks that got you praise, loyal to the silence that kept you from being judged. But now you're building. And you can't build on guilt. You can't build on shame. You can't build wealth, freedom, love, or purpose on top of a version of yourself you're still pretending not to be. You've got to get real. And real doesn't mean raw and broken. Real means honest, radically honest. Honest enough to say, I've been the one standing in my own way. I've been the one setting the thermostat on what I think I can receive. I've been praying for miracles while secretly preparing for disappointment. And that internal contradiction, that's what's keeping your manifestation stuck in neutral. It's not that the universe isn't responding. It's that your signal is scrambled. One moment, you say I want abundance. The next moment, you ghost the opportunity. One moment, you affirm I am lovable. The next, you chase someone who keeps proving they can't see you. You're sending mixed signals, not because you're confused, because you're conditioned. Conditioned to equate the familiar with the safe. Conditioned to mistake survival for alignment. But survival isn't your destiny. Alignment is. And alignment doesn't feel like safety at first. It feels like exposure, like walking naked into the fire of your own truth. like standing on the edge of your new life, with everything in your body screaming, go back to what you know. But you don't, not this time, because you've finally realized the comfort zone is a coffin. It buries you alive under routine, fear, and silent shame, and you weren't built for that. You weren't built to chase, you weren't built to wait. You weren't built to perform for things that are already yours. You were built to become. And becoming requires burning. Burning the roles, burning the beliefs, burning the identity that keeps whispering. Stay small so you don't lose love. Because if love requires you to be less, it was never love. And if success requires you to betray your soul, it's not success. And if your manifestations come with anxiety and fear, it's not the universe withholding. It's your soul saying, we're not ready until we're real. And being real, that's the key. Because when you're real, you stop playing games with the universe. You stop trying to manipulate timing. You stop outsourcing your power to astrology, to signs, to other people's opinions. You stop asking, is it working yet? And you start becoming the version of you who doesn't need it to happen yet because they are it. And when you are it, you don't need proof. You become the proof. You walk into rooms differently. You speak from center, not from scarcity. You set boundaries without flinching. You stop performing for likes and start living for legacy. Because now, you're not trying to convince life to love you. You're loving yourself so deeply that life rearranges itself to keep up. That's how manifestation really works. Not from asking, from embodying. From becoming the version of you who no longer begs, who no longer tiptoes around their own desires, who no longer makes themselves palatable to people who were never meant to taste their greatness. It's about becoming the version of you who lives in such alignment that reality bends. Because reality does bend for those who are bold enough to claim it. But you can't fake that boldness. You can't Photoshop your energy. You can't brand your way into worthiness. You have to build it from the inside. You have to stare down every lie that was ever whispered to you in childhood. You have to walk back into the moment they first told you you're too much and say, no, I was always just right. You just weren't ready for me. And now you're not looking for readiness outside yourself. You are ready. Not because everything is figured out, but because you're finally done waiting. Done asking for permission. Done hoping they'll see you. Done trying to earn what is already encoded in your DNA. Power. Vision. Worth. You were born with it. You forgot it. And now you're remembering. And in that remembering, the signal gets clear. You start attracting not what you want, but what you are. You don't chase alignment anymore. You are the alignment. You don't beg the universe. You walk as one with it. Because when you become whole, manifestation becomes inevitable. Not a mystery, not a struggle, not a fantasy, but a reflection, a divine echo of who you've dared to become. And that's the game changer. There comes a moment when you stop chasing alignment and start living it. And in that moment, you stop asking, when will it happen? Because you realize it's already happening, not outside of you, but inside. A rewiring of your nervous system, a shifting of your posture, a softening in your jaw, your voice, your chest, not from weakness, but from certainty. You are no longer faking power. You are power. You are no longer manifesting from need. You are calling from wholeness. And from that place, you don't just attract things. You magnetize realities. Because now, you're not afraid of abundance. You're available for it. You're not shocked by good things. You expect them, not from entitlement, but from embodiment. Because when your self-worth is rooted in truth, you stop questioning if you're enough and start asking, what's next? That's when wealth shows up. That's when aligned relationships arrive. That's when purpose flows through you like oxygen. Not something you search for, but something you remember. And all of it becomes natural. Because the most magnetic thing in the world is someone who is no longer trying to prove anything. They don't need to impress. They don't need to convince. They don't need to hustle for permission. They just are, and you know it when you see it. You feel it. The room shifts. The energy grounds. Because they're rooted. In themselves. In their worth. In their identity. And that energy, that's what you're becoming. Not a copy of someone else's blueprint. Not a watered-down version of someone else's success, but a pure, whole, unfiltered embodiment of your own frequency. That's where manifestation lives. Not in perfection. In presence, when you're no longer bypassing pain, but integrating it. when you're no longer waiting to be ready, but walking in readiness, when you're no longer hoping. You're knowing, and that knowing is silent. It doesn't yell. It doesn't beg. It doesn't need to be validated, because it is. It just is. Like the ocean. Like the stars. Like gravity. You become undeniable. Not because you shout, but because you know. Longer waver. You become the person who walks into life saying, I'm not asking for what I want. I'm aligning with it. I'm not trying to attract love. I am love, and only those who recognize it are allowed to stay. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm stepping into wealth, because wealth is the consequence of my self-respect. And that's the shift. You stop asking, how do I get what I want? And you start asking, who do I need to become to match what I want? Because desire is cheap. Everyone wants more. More money. More freedom. More love. But very few are willing to do the deep, internal work of becoming available for it. To let go of the small identity. To sacrifice the comfort zone. To walk away from people who knew you as a version of yourself that no longer exists. To burn the script and write a new one in your own blood, your own truth, your own voice. And yes, it costs you something, but you know what costs more? Staying stuck in a life that doesn't match your soul, living a fraction of what you're capable of, because you didn't believe you were worthy of the full thing. That's the real price. And if you're not willing to pay the price of expansion, you'll keep paying the cost of contraction. You'll keep paying in silence. In resentment, in almosts and maybes and next time. But not anymore. Because now you know the truth. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are available for. And availability is energetic. It's in your choices. It's in your habits. It's in how you speak to yourself when no one's watching. It's in how you hold yourself when the room doesn't yet applaud you. It's in how you set your rate, your boundary, your standard. It's in what you say yes to and what you finally say no to. Because your no is a sacred act, a declaration. It's how you tell the universe, I'm done betraying myself. I'm done negotiating with scarcity. I'm done calling my trauma a personality trait. That's when your reality shifts, not because the world changed, because you did. You stopped trying to manifest over your insecurity and started building from your identity. And that identity, it doesn't need fixing. It needs remembering, because you've always been worthy. Always. Even when they forgot how to love you, even when they couldn't see your magic, even when you learned to hide it, even when you settled for roles that made you small. You were always enough. But enough isn't something you recite 10 times in a mirror. It's something you live. It's in how you breathe through rejection. It's in how you stand tall when doubt creeps in. It's in how you look yourself in the mirror and say, this life isn't happening to me. It's responding to me. And I've changed. That's the moment it begins. Not with a sign, not with a number in your bank account. Not with someone telling you it's okay. But with you finally becoming the kind of person who no longer asks for miracles, because you are the miracle. You are the proof. You are the signal. And your signal is clear now. You don't need to scream. You don't need to beg. You don't need to chase. You are the frequency, and what belongs to you, it's already on the way. Not because you forced it, because you became it. You are the signal. And now that it's clear, now that it's powerful, now that it's rooted in truth, everything changes. Not slowly. Not eventually. Now. Because life doesn't move when you beg. It moves when you decide. When you stop talking and start becoming. When your energy speaks louder than your words. When your actions stop negotiating with mediocrity. That's when your world bends. That's when doors open without you knocking. That's when people start saying, I don't know what it is about you, but something's different. And they're right. Everything is different. Not because you manifested harder, but because you finally match what you asked for. Because manifestation is not an act of desperation. It's a return to identity. To the version of you that doesn't live in fear. To the version of you that trusts the unknown. To the version of you that walks through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they don't have to force anything, because they don't chase alignment, they are alignment. And from that place, you stop living in resistance. You stop gripping what's meant to move. You stop begging for clarity and start moving in faith. You stop asking how and start living now. That's where self-worth becomes your strategy. It's no longer a cute concept. It's your operating system. It's how you breathe. It's how you choose. It's how you lead. It's how you love without losing yourself. It's how you receive without guilt. It's how you rise without apology. Because now you see the truth. All your affirmations, all your visualizations, all your late-night prayers, they were never wrong. They were just incomplete. You were trying to plug divine energy into a broken circuit, trying to receive lightning through a system that still didn't believe it deserved to be lit. But now you've rewired. Now you've remembered. Now you've removed the biggest block that was never outside you but within you. And with that block gone, there's nothing left to hold you back. Not their opinions, not your past, not your fear. You're not manifesting from need anymore. You're manifesting from knowing. Because you're not chasing the life you want. You're embodying the person who lives that life. And that embodiment, it's the key to everything. You can't fake it. You can't shortcut it. You have to become it. You have to feel it. You have to believe not in the life, but in the you who lives that life. And when you do, you become unstoppable. Because there is no force more magnetic than a soul that remembers its worth. There is no strategy more powerful than a human fully aligned with themselves. There is no roadmap more direct than walking your truth with unwavering conviction. You are that roadmap now. You are the evidence. You are the standard. And every time you raise it, your world rises to meet it. Not because you control it, because you command it through your energy. You don't need to know every next step. You just need to take the next aligned one. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stop lying to yourself about what you already know. And what you know deep down in your bones is this: you were never meant to settle. You were never meant to chase. You were never meant to live small just to stay safe. You were born to expand. To express. To receive. And that receiving, it's no longer delayed, because the delay was never on the universe's end. It was on yours. And now you've unblocked the signal. You've upgraded the source. You've anchored into identity. And from here, you don't wait. You witness. You watch life match your frequency. You watch the right people find you. The right ideas land. The right resources flow in. Because they are no longer running into your resistance. They are meeting your readiness. That's the difference. You are not just manifesting anymore. You are magnetizing. You are not just wanting. You are walking. You are not just hoping. You are holding. And what you hold, it expands. Because now your hands are steady. Now your heart is open. Now your body feels safe with joy. And now your soul is ready to carry what it always knew it was here for: a life of alignment, a life of wholeness, a life that reflects not what you wish for, but who you are. Not someday, not later. Now you're ready now, because you've decided. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve. And today, you finally know you deserve it all.